sorry it's cold, but in their mind it said bring blankets, so maybe you should have brought blankets. I don't know when we'll be switching to the auditorium yet, so just keep an eye out for that, because if it gets colder, we'll be in there next week. But
we're singing Goodness of God, and I think all of leadership's going to sing today, so get excited.
Woo! So leadership, come up. Everyone stand up. We're going to sing.
Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From that I wake up till I rise. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your voice, you have led me through the fire, darkest night. You're close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. You have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me.
I apologize. This week we have a very fun speaker. You all know him. You all love him. Mr. Lash.
Hey guys, so when they asked me to speak, Judah never had me in class, right? So when I asked her like, what should I speak on? And she was like, anything. And those of you who had me in class know that like that's a very dangerous thing to like say to me, because I'm not good with like focused, yeah, Aslan's face is like, I'm not good with like focused like talks. So I should probably like make sure like some of you, even not you, none of you, I don't see any faces here. Some people like silently judge me, I feel like, when I'm lecturing in class and I go off topic. So I do want to like set my timer so that I don't like go completely off the rails. So I'm Mr. Lash. Hi. So for me, FCA is kind of a weird thing. I went to a Catholic school in high school, and for me, religion was always part of everything, which was always really cool. We could talk about it openly, regardless of the class, regardless of the situation. It was always part. So for me, it's always been kind of a weird thing. And then I started my teaching career at private schools. So for me, it's always been kind of a weird thing trying to separate it out. And every now and then, some of you having a class, you'll see like I have to like tap the brakes on stuff. So it's been a weird adjustment in some ways. I don't like countdowns, right? I don't like countdowns, right? Like 20 days until Christmas, 3 days until the weekend, right? 10 hours. I don't like countdowns, right? I actually got into my wife got offended by that because she really likes countdowns. She's like, oh, I don't like them. And the reason I don't like them is because I feel like focusing on countdowns distract us from like today, right? Like when we think about countdowns, and I'm thinking about, well, I got 3 days until the weekend. I know it's Friday, but like it's 3 days until the weekend, or it's 20 days until this vacation, or we lose sight of today, right? And then when we get to that moment, right? When you get to that thing you've been counting down for, you've spent all the time leading up to it practicing looking someplace else, right? And you guys know who Inky Johnson is? No? So Inky Johnson was a football player some of you, if you've been on Twitter, you've been on Instagram, you've seen him, right? He's a motivational, inspirational speaker. He played football at Tennessee. He got hit, lost the use of his arm, right? So he's got like a dead arm. And he tweets out every morning, he tweets out the same thing, right? This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, right? And some of those days are good days, some of those days are bad days, some of those days are random Tuesdays in October, right? This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, right? We hear a lot about mindfulness, right? There's like a joke about like that, there's a meme and viral videos going on about that right now, right? We hear a lot about mindfulness. And even in sort of like a philosophical religious concept, we hear mindfulness as an Eastern thing a lot of times, right? We hear mindfulness as it's a Buddhist thing or a Hindu thing, right? It's a Zen thing, right? But I think that within Christianity there is a calling to be mindful, right? We see this in that psalm, right? This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, right? Doesn't matter what kind of day it is, right? Doesn't matter the obstacles or the challenges you face, right? This is the day the Lord has made, right? We should approach it joyfully, right? One of the things that I remember when I was coaching when COVID hit, right, that kind of forced that on people, right, was, loss of the season, loss of graduation, loss of these things, right? That was they had that March 12th, right? We had school, everything was good. Then March 13th, we all shut down, right? And I think we're called to enjoy things on that level. Going a little bit deeper, in Buddhism, right, and I'm going back and forth on this. In Buddhism, right, one of the major things is finding the path, right, the middle path, the middle way, right? That's where the major ideas of Buddhism, right? And, in Christianity, you get in there, right, and, Jesus and John goes, right, I am the way, right? I am the way, right? If we want to look at mindfulness, if we want to look at being present today, right, our way, our path, right, is emulating Jesus. And then John in the chapter before that talks about being, giving that new commandment, right, to love one another as I have loved you, right? And I think it's really easy to lose that, right? To lose that sense of joy, that sense of love, that sense of purpose in our day-to-day just actions, right? We get caught up in the grind of things, right? We get into survival mode and we lose all of that, right? Going into Matthew and, really, if you go Matthew chapter 5 on through chapter 8, like that's, if anyone who wants to dig deeper on that, that's like a textbook on I think, Christian mindfulness, right? But there's one verse, right? So don't be anxious about tomorrow. God will take care of your tomorrow too. Live one day at a time, right? And I think that's really important. I really do. I think that one of the things that unfortunately like your generation has going against it, and it's really unfortunate, these things are killers, man. These things will take you out of the moment so quickly, right? And that's tough. I don't have an answer for that, right? We know that it's bad for you guys, over long terms. But I do think, like on a spiritual level, right, that the constant getting into the phones and looking away, it's hurting us, right? I will tell you the reason why I love sports, right? And some of you have heard this story, I think, potentially, and I apologize. But the reason I love sports, the reason that I love playing sports, right, my favorite moment, right, is it's the third quarter in a basketball game, and my legs are gassed. I'm dead, right? I'm absolutely dead. I can't breathe. My legs are tired. It's the middle of the season. I am absolutely exhausted. And there's a moment, right? There was a moment when you look around on that court and you see your brother standing there. And you know that, man, Javi's exhausted and Alex is gassed. And Javi number 2. It was Miami. We had a lot of Javiers on the team, right? I kid you not. We had 2 Javiers and we had 2 Alexes, right? We had 2 Alex Garcias. Not even like 2 guys named Alex. We had 2 Alex Garcias. So, right, Alex is gassed, Matt is gassed, and we're looking at each other, right? And then you're in that moment, man, and it's awesome, right? To be like inserted in that moment, right? You're gassed, you're exhausted, you know that the other team's gassed too, and you look at your brothers and say, man, we're gonna go, right? The other times that I've had that moment, and I'll tell you, they've been amazing. When my wife got married, not my wife got married, when I married my wife. That sounds kind of crazy when you say it that way. It's like she got married. Right? When we got married, my wife and I got married when my kids were born. And I've increasingly, as I've become a father, tried to find those moments in the day-to-day living, right? I try to find those moments when I'm playing catch, right? It's easy to find those moments when you're on vacation, you're at the beach, you're at Disney World, you're going someplace special. So guys, my challenge to you guys, especially going into a 5-day weekend, right, is to remember this is the day that the Lord has made, right? Let us rejoice and be glad in it, right? Not every day is going to be a good day, but it's still a day, right? And then take it this weekend. You know, we have 5 days, you have 5 days, I only got 4. You have 5 days. Try to take some moments with your parents, with your family, with your friends, to really be present, right? And to really engage with them. And the other challenge I would say to you is to take some time to really prayerfully reflect as well, right? Because it's easy to get lost on that too. And I don't necessarily mean like a quick prayer, but really just to kind of like, you know, sit there, right? Not even reading the Bible. Sit someplace and really reflect on your relationship with God, right? Guys, I really appreciate you letting me speak to you guys today. Thank you very much.